Hey, what's up everybody? It's Chris. Thought I'd make a quick video. It's Happy Veterans Day to all the vets out there. My wife's a vet, so my dad as well. Probably one of the biggest regrets of my life, never signing up, but just didn't go as planned, I guess. And anyways, just want a quick shout out to all you vets and thank you for your service. And I thought I'd do a quick jazz video. I haven't done one in quite a while. And I got some killer stuff, some cheap stuff too, so if any of you guys just getting into jazz, you might enjoy it. One of my favorite ones that I got was this one right here. This is the Quintet Jazz at Massey Hall. Has Dizzy Gillespie on trumpet, Bud Powell on piano. A lot of you know from watching my videos, I just love Bud Powell, him and Horace Silver, my favorite piano players. Max Roach on drums and Charlie Mingus on bass. I mean, really, look at that quintet. I mean, holy smokes. This is an original on Debut Records. I won't show all the labels, but that one's pretty upside down, but pretty nice find. I was real happy to find that one. Alright, next one we got Best of Mose Allison. It's just a comp on the Atlantic, from his time on the Atlantic. A lot of his hits from his time on the Atlantic label. If any of you haven't heard him, he's got an interesting voice. I enjoy it, but I got a couple more of his. This is Mose in Your Ear. It's a live album. I think it was recorded, oh yeah, it says right there, in Palo Alto, California. It's on the Atlantic label as well. I think he does a cover on here of Hank Williams, Hey Good Looking. Right there. It's pretty good. Enjoyable Mose album. Next one is Seventh Son. This is another comp from his time on Prestige. So if you're looking for just to cover, you know, some different times of his career, these two comps from his Prestige and Atlantic would be pretty good to start. The title track on here, Seventh Son, you know, really enjoyable. Also a Van Gelder album. Nothing that man didn't record, I'm telling you. Next one, we always talk about cheap jazz. This would be Stanley Turrentine. This is The Man with the Sad Face. Let's see, notables on here would be Ron Carter on bass, Idris Muhammad on drums on a couple songs. Not my favorite from him, I'm more of a fan of his earlier Blue Note stuff. But it's still good, and I really dig that cover. Pretty cool artwork. I think it's like mid-70s. Wes Montgomery, A Day in the Life. Does some, a lot of covers on this album. Day in the Life, When a Man Loves a Woman, Eleanor Rigby. Some cool covers he does on this one of rock songs. Enjoyable. This is Charlie Mingus 1. So I take that price tag off. I'm dreading it. It's on Atlantic. It's from 1975. Very good album. I appreciate that Charlie Mingus didn't really go the funky route that, like, say, Herbie did, or some of the other jazz musicians, which I appreciate. This is still, you know, pretty much his normal style of jazz, so I really enjoyed it. Charlie Mingus I did not have. Next one, I don't have many from this artist, so it's kind of nice to get one, even though it's a later one. This is Pharoah Sanders, Love Will Find a Way, 1978. It's like a funky free jazz. I don't know, it's definitely different than his earlier stuff. I'd love to find some of his earlier stuff, but you know, it's getting harder to find and definitely more expensive. It's probably not my favorite from him, but it's still enjoyable. let's see. Next one. Organist Jimmy Smith. This is the Unpredictable. Bastion, the Unpredictable Jimmy Smith. He does a version of Walk on the Wild Side on this one. Pretty cool. Cheap jazz, organ jazz. I think it's really enjoyable. Next one. Bass player Ron Carter. Pick 'em. This is a later album. Buster Williams on this album as well. It's like a, I don't know, like bluesy. All Blues is a cover, obviously. He does that on here. Tranquil, and then Pick 'em as well is a great song. I just kind of stopped by an estate sale. A lot of you know I go to estate sales, and I think all these pretty much, the next like 10 came from this estate sale. So my wife wanted to go to this estate sale in this town. There was no records there, but she really wanted to go, and she always goes to the record ones that I go to, so can't say no. And on the way out, we saw a sign for another estate sale that wasn't listed. So I said, well, let's go check it out. And we walk in there, and of course, the first thing I asked her was, old house, lots of stuff. Do you have any records? She said, oh yeah, we have a ton. They're back here in the corner. So I start flipping through them, and it's just nothing but, you know, the typical, typical stuff you find at Goodwill. And then all of a sudden, I start finding some jazz. I'm like, holy smokes. So some cool stuff that I don't usually see. This is the Al Cohn Quintet and Zoot. This is Alan Zoot. Mose Allison plays on piano on this, I believe. Thought he did. What song did he play on? Trying to see. Doesn't say on here what song he played on, but I know he did. Fantastic album. If you guys haven't heard it, really enjoyable. The next one is my first one I have picked up on the Pacific Jazz label. It's Bill Perkins, Just Friends. It's got Art Pepper, Richie Kamuka. I really like this album. There's that Pacific Jazz label. So I was really excited to find that one. Next one, Sonny Rollins Trio, Sonny Rollins Brass. Also a great album from Sonny, it's on Verve. Let's see here. One, I think Grand Street was my favorite on here. It's song 3 on side A. Nat Adderley plays cornet on this. I thought there was one other. That would be the big one off of this album, but I don't see very much Sonny Rollins and in that good a shape, so I was real happy. The next one is my favorite album from this artist. I found another one. It's my second copy. Miles Davis, Someday My Prince Will Come. A lot of you already know about this, but the lineup is just, I mean, it's ridiculous. Coltrane, Mobley, Wynton Kelly, Paul Chambers, Jimmy Cobb. I mean, this is my, I don't have Kind of Blue. I've heard Kind of Blue several times because I have it on CD. But this would be my favorite Miles album, I think. It is so good. And this one is, I think, in a little bit better shape than the one I had. So we'll see which one I keep and get rid of here. Next album, I haven't really heard too much from this artist, and I got 2 of them. So this is Lenny Newhouse, Volume 1, The Quintets on Contemporary. It's from 1956. Some interesting stuff I found about Lenny Newhouse when I researched him because I didn't know a whole lot about him. Cool contemporary label, early label. He actually worked with, what's his name? Clint Eastwood on several of his films, and he just played all kinds of. I think he did the score for several of his films, and then you know, some films you might know. So if you look him up, it has like, you know, I think 10 years Clint Eastwood actually exclusively used him. So kind of neat. That was his first solo album as well. And this would be Volume 5, Lenny Newhouse, The Sextet. This one has Bill Perkins that we were just talking about. He plays tenor sax and flute on this. Buddy Clark on bass. Just a really, really good album. This one's on Contemporary as well. Can't remember if it's the same label or not. Yep, same label. So those were two pretty good finds that I don't see ever all the time. So next one we got Gil Evans with Cannonball Adderley. His New Bottle, Old Wine. You know, a lot of people call him one of the great composers, I guess you could say. So it even says it right there, see? And I would have to agree. Great lineup of tracks. He does King Porter's Stomp. Strutting with Some Barbecue. All good tracks on here. Lester Young plays on here. Let's see who else. Gil Evans on piano, obviously. So next one is the second copy. This is an upgrade for me. Art Blakey Drum Suite. Let's see here. A lot of you already know this one. I was trying to find who else plays on here. It's got the Messengers, so probably the typical lineup. Nice upgrade copy on that. Next one, I usually don't buy a whole lot of his stuff, but Mose Allison plays piano on this one as well. Stan Getz. This is the Soft Swing. This is from '59 on Verve. Pretty good album. More big bandy a little bit, but still enjoyable. The next one, once I started looking it up, because I saw the catalog number, sorry, and I was like, is that really? And it is. This is the very first Impulse album. The great Kai and JJ. Kai Winding and JJ Johnson. This is A-1. Let's get the old school Impulse, the original. It's kind of cool. Bill Evans, Paul Chambers, Art Taylor all play on this album. The very first Impulse album, A-1 mono. So very cool to have that, and it's very good. I enjoy it. Not too often you hear trombones and jazz. So, and this would be A-3, Incredible Kai Winding trombone. This is from '61. This is his third release. So this is the third Impulse ever. And very enjoyable. There was a song on here. I can't remember the exact song, but I really enjoyed it. I think it was like Speak something, Speak Low. Next one, Charlie Parker, April in Paris. It's on Verve. Very slow pace, very relaxing. It's kind of like a night, you know, whiskey in your hand type of album. Very, very cool. Grover Washington, Mr. Magic on Kudu. Not fusion, but it's more like, I don't want to say, is it like experimental maybe type jazz? It was okay. Nothing to write home about, but I still like Grover Washington. This one is Randy Weston, Blue Moses on CTI. A little bit funky-esque, kind of like the Grover Washington, a little bit experimental. It's okay. Not my favorite, I'm not gonna lie. Next one I think is a comp. I couldn't find much information about it. It's Coleman Hawkins, Jazz Kings, Immortal. It's enjoyable. It's got, I was trying to look up the albums I had to see if any of the songs were on those, and I couldn't really tell. but it's enjoyable. Coleman Hawkins is great if you haven't heard him. Another Stanley Turrentine. The lineup on this one is great. It's got Freddie Hubbard, Ron Carter, David Walker. This is on Fantasy. It's got a great lineup, but it's kind of like commercialized maybe a little bit. This is from like 1975. Really not my favorite from him. I'm really a fan of Stanley's earlier works, but it's what I found. It's Clifford Brown, Jazz Immortal. This is on Pacific Jazz. This one's featuring Zoot Sims, which I showed you earlier was on, this is a later Pacific Jazz, obviously. It was recorded in like 1954, but this one wasn't released until a lot later. Can't remember the exact date this one was released, but obviously it's got a barcode, so. And the last one, I don't find a lot of his stuff. This is like a comp from his Prestige days. Eric Dolphy. Ron Carter, Roy Haynes, Freddie Hubbard. So this is very enjoyable because it's from his Prestige days. So this is a cool comp, not terribly expensive, and if you're just getting into Dolphy, this is a great one to start on. So, anyways, that's some of my jazz finds I had over the last little while. I'm gonna be making another video here probably this week. I'm so backlogged on stuff, it's ridiculous. I really need to start selling some stuff. And anyways, hope you guys enjoy your Veterans Day and take care.